Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to an exciting, innovative, and amazing Propagandacast from your host and Pearl name, the one, the only, Master Propaganda, Hero of Strike, Defender of the Fatherland. Off you everything and amazing 1v1 here on Bocage. In the north, there is Oziligath fighting here for the Red Army, the Soviet Union, leading a smashing shock formation here with the 7th Guards Mechanized Corps with Armoured Assault tactics. Gonna smash through to Berlin here with Armoured Assault, Radio Intercept, Vehicle Crew Repair Training, IS-2 attacks, and IL-2 Sturmovik attacks here. In the south, it is Stephenn fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Here, rolling out with, whoops, no Basil, bad kitty. The 1st Panzer Division here with Spearhead, Mechanized and Assault Support, no Basil, bad kitty. Looking, of course, to halt this socialist onslaught from Oziligath. So, no Basil. Phew! Out of there! My cat. Sorry about that. Basil seems really intent on playing with me right now, but not the right time. So, as always, a big hearty thanks to my patron supporters who support the worth and keep the Propagandacast running. Big hearty thanks for all those. May their lives be blessed and not attacked by Basil, and as you know, other people can follow in the ranks by pledge on Patreon. So, links in the description for that. Anyways, we've got move up in the center here with Oziligath launching 2 conscripts there, westwards in Guineas here, and a 3rd conscript there, running from the base here. First skirmish here, we got Stephenn here with the Grenadier MD-42 force here, striking at Oziligath's center position here. Conscripts there, almost caught by the MD-42. I mean, there's a bit of light damage, but no suppression there. Most crucially, securing the missions point here, primarily eastern focus here from Stephenn. 2nd Grenadier Squad here so far, fairly standard builds there from Stephenn. That's they're really wanting some attention. But again, he picked the wrong time for it. He's sadly a bit silly at times with that. Get going to the conscripts there. Nay. Carousel. Anyways, Grenadiers are defending the calf point there behind a dead cow. Meanwhile, eastern side forces being more extended here against Oziligath. Grab most important engineers. Holding up the side with the Pioneer. Conscript holding up. He's got 4 squads up for Oziligath. Pretty infantry approach here from Oziligath. Of course, he doesn't have any call-in infantry thanks to this commander, so that does kind of make a bit sense there. 3rd Grenadier Squad was done for Stephenn. We'll, of course, have to see what Oziligath ultimately is going to aim for, but I imagine at least some sort of T-35s and IS-2s could be very likely here. Meanwhile, just grabbing the rest of the map here, Stephenn there a bit on defense. We see the Oziligath looking to creep around here, hoping to find a gap in Stephen's defenses, and he does somewhat find it, forcing Stephenn, of course, to reposition the machine gun, deal with the potential flank here. Of course, this could opt for a frontal assault then response. So, there's a lot going on here already between Stephenn and Oziligath here. Already a lot of tension here. West side here, Grenadiers catching the knees here, close to the base. We'll have to see if Stephen's going to go for 4th Grenadier Squad, another machine gun are going to take up. I mean, he could also, I suppose, go for a sniper. Pressure here, and there we go. We do get a 4th Grenadier Squad from Stephenn in response to his opponent having a lot of infantry himself. Constant there looking for a gap. Machine gun there dealing with the troops on the side here. And again, sneaking up here, running into another Grenadier Squad here. Basil running off. 4th Grenadier Squad there, halfway done. West side here, Grenadiers being overwhelmed here by Oziligath's forces there, able to quickly beat down the Germans on that side. Grenadiers here continue to hold the side around the car front, but for how much longer can they hold? Meanwhile, on the east side, the machine gun, of course, is being steadily outflanked. The Pioneers are acting as a flank guard here to make it a bit harder for the Conscripts to flank around there, but even that's a bit of a tough task here with certain infantry pouring in. West side here, Grenadiers being pushed into the fight here once more against Oziligath here. The assault keeps up. The Grenadiers falling back here as again the flank is being overextended and threatened here. Oziligath just keeps it up. Grenadiers here, Demon Engineers got caught with the machine gun bunker here and slightly suppressed. No take yet. We do get a bunker up there for Stephenn. And these he has the conscripts, 4-man left. Low health, casualties piling up. Conscripts there suppressed. Engineers pushing forward to the flamethrower here. Down to 3 men here in the face of the Grenadier. Engineers moving up here. Gonna flank around that M42 team popping into the building. That's going to be a bit of a headache there for Stephenn's men to deal with. And it's also again worth noting his Oziligath now already controls most of the map here. Stephenn only controls, well, a small fraction in comparison. Like, he's got 3 points compared with, well, almost the rest of the map here. So, Oziligath off to a very strong start. He is finally pushed back here by Stephenn. But even then, there's a lot of work to be done here for Stephenn against Oziligath here. A lot of work. Stephenn is finally taking out there versus Oziligath. No commander yet here for Stephenn. There's certainly a few picks there to go for. Mechanized, I suppose, he wants to like swing in a bit harder, maybe with a fast 250 half-track, though most players don't bother. Spearhead from auto half-tracks. Panzer, of course, Tiger tanks. And there's assault support for the early artillery field officer. There's the Blitz. There's air support. And of course, you have a Tiger tank there too. So there's certainly a few directions here Stephenn could take, and certainly a few of them which have Tiger tanks. East side here, steady approach here by Stephenn's going to be here. He's definitely hard focused on the eastern side of the map for now here versus Oziligath. Support by them company out for Oziligath and the Red Army. Control about in the center. And the tank is almost done for Stephenn. Gunny's reinforcing. Medics hard at work there. Machining give a demon the controls there. Gunny's rushing in. We've got more troops already pouring in from Oziligath. And there goes straight ahead here with the Tanko VP10 command again, leveraging that really strong early game here versus Stephenn to just go for a possibly very fast T-70 or fast anti-aircraft traffic. Out of the way though, that's going to be a significant headache for Stephenn here and the German army here as the 1st Panzer Division, 7th Panzer Grenadier Company is finding itself under increasing pressure here from the 7th Guards Mechanized Corps. Graham Northern pointed with the Grenadiers. Comes to the dealing with the Grenadiers here as well. Pushed back. West side here, a few Grenadiers moving forward there for Stephenn. Could add light machine guns now he wanted to. Light Mechanized Company could also be built here. Go for Panzer Grenadier. You go for the artillery field officer. There's numerous options here that Stephenn right now could, go for. But so far, he remains not... Oh, there we go. Light Mechanized Company up for Stephenn. No commander yet. Comes to the close being wiped out. Tank will be tank out for Oziligath, so now will it be the T-70 or will it be the anti-aircraft half-track? It is the half-track here from Oziligath. Straight for the cover point there, so Lightning's going to try and leverage his early map control into not just a relatively, well-paced light vehicle, but possibly fast T-34s. Obviously only adding here to Stephenn's already precarious position in the early game. Flare mines down there from Oziligath as well here to make it hard for Stephenn to get back on the field. Thumbs up there, very nice ability there. Unless, of course, you're the one running your troops into it, in which case your opinion of that is probably a bit in the opposite direction. So there you go, M5 half-track on the way there, adding the Horde mount there, the 450 cals to it. Pioneer straight into the flare mine there, so I think fairly heavy losses there. Still, Grenadiers are then not exposed to it, and that does allow them to overcome the conscripts in the end. Carpet almost secured. Meanwhile, east side here, fresh pressure there. Half-track rushing forwards there for Oziligath. And the Red Army charging ahead here. Tutu's out. Can sort of try and take on the Corpman, but it's certainly a bit of a challenge here. Of course, he could go for more Tutus to respond to this anti-aircraft half-track, or more likely will go for a Pack 40. But that said, Stephenn still no commander, which certainly... with all three, doesn't really tell us too much. Though might slightly tilt Spearhead or Assault Support into being the two more likely commander picks. But you still see people like going for Mechanized later on, so... It's hard to say of the Stephenn what exactly his battle plan is versus Oziligath in terms of commanders. If he has any at the moment, they're firing off a few shots with the half-track. Large 2cm holes there punched into the armor of the half-track there. West side there, Grenadiers moving up, and we do get the Panzer up there, Kanone field here for Stephenn. East side of Grenadiers, the conscripts here, quick Molotov. Also, the Grenadiers obviously out of cover, but things are not on fire. In the west side here, fresh push there from Oziligath. We do get the Pack 40 out for Stephenn. Of course, Oziligath is immediately aware of this, thanks to radio intercept. Comes pushing forward, see Armoured Car taking a few light shots out by the Armoured Car, though none of them seemingly hit, and there you go, anti-tank rate on the 2-2, leaving Stephenn's Armoured Car significantly less mobile. West side there, Gunny's pushed back with the conscripts. Poor Friedrich there catches on fire. Mother always warned him about that. So, back here, troop reinforcing, healing their armoured cars in need of repairs. Stephenn, of course, in need of map control. And Oziligath in need of a quick victory before the commissariat starts to get suspicious of him. Machine gun Grenadiers heading eastwards there. Field gun there for Oziligath. This is 3 divisional field gun. Armoured car there being fixed up. Fun fact about field guns, the Germans actually start a late war to begin creating Pak 40s that could also double as artillery, that is, field cannons themselves. That was known as the Feldkanone if you'd see. It was basically just a Pak 40 that could angle its gun up higher. I suspect that was based off inspiration by the Soviets. They would start using them in their own sort of Soviet-style artillery units, the Volksartillerie or People's Artillery. Fun fact there. So, Grenadiers of the conscripts here, falling a bit back here, half-track causing needs some repairs. Grenadiers advancing on the centre, westward here, armoured car pushing back the front of X here, obviously not going to tangle with that. Stephenn, of course, could try and take up here. He could also try and go for commander. Go for more troops now, Pak 40, who knows. Plenty of parts here for Stephenn to take. As for Oziligath, yeah, take that for Stephenn. No, cancels it, and goes for Morton instead. I mean, that's actually a pretty good idea for Stephenn. As for Oziligath, no mechanized armor company yet. But I imagine it's going to happen soon, in part because that also means he can then start upgrading all of his conscripts to the 7-man upgrade. The 7 upgrade. And of course, that's, you know, 4 7-man conscript squads is going to be a bit of a prickly proposition for Stephenn to deal with. Particularly with just a lot of unupgraded grenadiers. That's going to be especially uncomfortable for Stephenn to deal with. And there you go, Stephenn does ultimately commit to mechanized with command tanks, 250 half-tanks, vehicle critical repairs, spotting scopes, and of course, leichte Feldhaubitze. Again, you'll see people go for that because, you know, like spotting scopes. Some of them even go for the command tank, but also stuff like vehicle critical repair is quite good. And of course, even more rarely, you might see someone actually go for the 250 half-tank, but those are very much a tiny minority in companies too. Can't push back engineers almost got the wiped here with the Pioneer and the 222, like the Panzerspielwagen. Front of X rushing out the centre, grab these and pump for the Grenadier. No tech yet for Stephenn after that Granatenwerfer, though of course it does provide him some crucial light artillery. And he did also take this anti-aircraft half-tank, so I think for Oziligath there's definitely a bit more pressure now to get teching going here, so he can A, start upgrading his conscripts, and B, start pushing for tanks. I'm a bit surprised he hasn't tried to make it harder for that, just because, again, that way he can just get up mobilised reserves fairly fast. So that is a bit of an interesting bit there. Stephenn, though, slowly moving ahead with the tech, and these pioneers all reinforcing healing. Granatenwerfer team there being hauled forward to the front line, durch die Hauptkampflinie. Conscripts on watch here, laying down some flare mines again. Thumbs up to Oziligath, fairly consistent laying down those. And there we go, we do also get the mechanized armor company. At which point things get a bit more comfortable for Stephenn's infantry. Pak 45 weather, of course, looking to remove the heavy cover here for the conscripts. And of course, getting the mortar to help assisting in that by blasting up the conscripts behind the heavy cover. There we go. Set off the mine too. Cover wrecked. Sandbags down here though. And using these with the conscripts there. Quickly dropping Yevgeny like a sack of potatoes from a Moscow office. For no apparent reason, of course. Sacks of potatoes just dropped from offices in Moscow. That's just normal stuff. Conscripts falling back here in the west. Moving up the centre of the Grenadiers, trying to flare mine there. Grenadiers with the conscripts in the east here. Steady mortar support here again provides Stephenn with some excellent tools here for supporting an advance here. Blasting any dug-in defenders. Quite good work there, obviously. I believe German mortar crews were noted for their skill in the Second World War, so, you know, thumbs up there. Conscripts living slowly bled out here in the east with the Grenadiers with the MG42s, ripping them apart here. West side, they're feeling he's moving up here, pressuring out Stephenn from the centre. Mechanized armor company, of course, done. Could start churning out T-3045 soon, or go for the 76s. Stephenn's got the support armor core up. Shouldn't give us the engineers. Conscripts rushing straight at here, hoping the machine will point at them in time. Looks like he's an exactly well-spotted gambit there by Oziligath. Quickly outmaneuvers the MG42. Almost got the mobilised reserves upgrade ready. At that point, the machine gun will need to get out of there before it gets turned into, well, a third machine gun. Pioneer flanking in here. Looks like the MG42 narrowly escapes here the wrath of Oziligath and the motherland. Pioneer clashing in and getting attacked from the north. Molotov off there, far up north. He controls the Grenadiers here, advancing up, trying to hit that calf point, but are very much being halted here by Oziligath, and he is in fact going for the T-35. Almost got a wipe in the conscript. He definitely should, I think, try and get the wipe. That would certainly be painful there for Oziligath, and a great kill there for Stephenn. And Deutschland, of course. But no, fortune smiles upon Oziligath there. Yeah, it looks like it's going to go for a regular Panther 4 here first. Flare mine's going off again, but still Stephen's got much better map control here. Again, the mortar is proving to be a nice handy tool, even if it doesn't directly gain any kills. It does damage. It makes it hard again for Oziligath, just like, park some men behind heavy cover and, slow down Stephenn. Rifle engineers here, kills several, but again, quick merge here from the conscripts, boosts up the engineers with a few freshly appointed engineers there, even if they've never seen the inside of an engineering school. Armed Carlos engineers here, grenadiers of the conscripts there in the west. Got the T-35 moving forwards for Oziligath. Armored car holding back here. And there goes Stephenn over the Panzer IV. T-35 fires away a shot, misses. Fortunate for Stephenn's grenadiers, our lesser assaults could have been quite uncomfortable. All to their veterans you want, and 1 kill. Deploying smoke as well, thumbs up. Panther 4 roughly halfway down there for Stephenn, and the first Panther is shown here. Fielding and bombarding. Of course, Oziligath himself would also benefit from a mortar. I suspect he's more likely to just go for the Katyusha, as that of course is a very nice popular pick amongst players too. We got the 10 minutes rolling in the center from Stephenn, thumbs up to that. Crunch rushing in with a Molotov, pushing back his Stephenn's forces there as they are quickly being lit on fire. And the T-35 here assists in this attack here as well. And I think Stephenn will have to treat that machine gun. It's going to be very low on health and down just 1 guy, meaning, pretty much anything wipes it. So it's going to be, a big risk. Plus, he's going to lose a lot of veterancy there, which would also be quite the waste there for Stephenn. Pack 4 landing good here on the T-35. Another field gun here for Oziligath. Could, of course, be a good signal he wants to destroy tanks. And again, 2 field guns is just very, very good. But it's also perhaps a signal here that Oziligath is going to try and stall for the IS-2 heavy tank here. And then try and squash Stephenn with the armoured fist of Stalin. The extra armoured fist, that is. The special armoured fist that Stalin keeps for things that needs to be specially hammered. Anyways, comes about to go back to the Panther 4 here. More troops bringing in for Oziligath. Almost got a wipe there on Oziligath's conscripts. Panther 4 shoots, misses. Gunnies into being hammered with the T-35. Got the counter as well there. Molotov off. Cover there, slowly crumbling away. The Grenadiers will definitely find their cover soon. Absolutely worthless. The T-35 though. Oh, didn't rush into it. I mean, say he rushed in the T-35 there in front of the Pack 40. That would have been very good for Stephenn and very bad for Oziligath. But fortunately for Oziligath, that did not happen. Otherwise, another sack of potatoes and may just have fallen out of the window of a Moscow office. Constantly about here for Oziligath. Hand of one hot pursuit there of them, perhaps. Pack full landing great here on the T-35 there. Oziligath definitely needs to be careful there. Constant troubling with the Panther 4. Another Pack 40 here for Stephenn as well. Could be an indicator that Stephenn, of course, is concerned about enemy armor. Again, that anti-tank is really, really good. Or that he himself is going to be planning to go for tier 4 now. So there's certainly, again, some considerations here. Some potential mind games going on between these two sides here. And we do get a T-34-6 for Oziligath. So no IS-2 solely from him, though. Just more T-34s to tackle the German menace. Counter-wing 40, great hit from the Panther 4 there. Close to being wiped out, and they definitely need to be a bit mindful. In the centre, another push forward here, but Oziligath is also being met with fierce resistance from the Germans. Up north here, conscripts there successfully pushing back some of Stephenn's grenadiers. We got 318 versus 380. Close, but with a small lead here to Oziligath over Stephenn. Southeast grenadiers could try and probe up here a bit here. T-35 they're moving in. Could try and launch a northern flank against Stephenn. I mean, there's a bit of gap here, and crucially, his forces are separate, but there's particular piece of hedge and trees here. So, I mean, that could be something there to exploit versus Stephenn. There you go, though. Pack gets a good beat on the T-35, pushing it back here with a few well-placed shots. T-34-6 there, ready for Oziligath. And he's looking up at the Eastern Nations point here. Pack moving forward here for Stephenn. And he's caught here neatly losing Ludwig. Mortar there needs to get to a safer position. That is less likely to smell of Molotov in a few seconds. Up north at T-34 from 6, they're moving ahead. Comes moving forward here for Oziligath. Field gun as well at the ready. T-3485 there. Half 8 of S-71. Stephenn can soon go for another Panther 4. Could also, of course, go for a command tank, but versus T-35s and 76s, he definitely wants some more regular Panther 4 first, or some Stugs. Some Sturmgeschütze. Consquad, they almost utterly annihilated here by Stephenn's Panther 4 there. Somehow, though, nearly escapes utter annihilation at the hands of the Wehrmacht. Southeast, they're consuming forwards. So at a fairly expensive price there. Telemann still there. T-34 from 6 rolling ahead. Here looking to spot some gaps in Stephen's lines and punish him up north. He can score some work with the T-35 there. And there you go. T-34 from 6 goes for the flank. There's a second pack 40 here ready. It is fairly damaged. Theoretically, Oziligath could clear it out and turn against Stephenn, which would be, well, bad news for Stephenn and the 1st Panzerdivision here. Fortunately for Stephenn, though, Oziligath does not achieve this goal, and so Stephenn is in a less perilous position. He does go for another Panther 4 here. Telemann goes off. And I think that actually wiped the Conscript squad. Because Oziligath's only got 3 squads now, so yeah. Fun fact, Telemines were also used against infantry in the actual war, though obviously not quite like that. But the thing about the Telemine is, you could also detonate it while they're caught, so, you know, some German troop would use it sort of like a satchel charge, chuck it in front and then detonate into a Soviet advance. Obviously not what happened, each shot from a Panther 4 set it off, but, you know, it's sort of one of those interesting historical facts that shows, you know, troops had a tendency of getting a bit creative what they could get their hands on with. T-35 moving forwards here, close to veterans 1. Panther 4 almost done there for Stephenn. Good shot from the field gun there on the 222. Second Panther 4 ready for Stephenn. And does fire to land. T-35 they're going for the Panther 4, pushing him back here with the fuel well placed shots in through. Pack 40 though. Instead lands ahead, gaining measures in the process. T-35 being pushed back with some pretty heavy fire there. Pack wiped out here though by Oziligath. At this point, his best bet is just probably destroyed. I don't think there's a chance here Oziligath can get his hands on it unless Stephenn makes some really, really big mistakes. That said, though, Oziligath clearly is not feeling confident in destroying the Pack 40, so he just withdraws. That said, he's also managed to kill all the victory points here, so that's still pretty good for Oziligath in the end here. T-34s, of course, need some repairs. We shall see what Oziligath goes for next. He's got more engineers on the way. Definitely not bad either. As for Stephenn, what will his master plan entail here? Good shot there from the Pack 40 and the T-34s from 6. Grab the eastern point with the Grenadiers. Bit dinged up here, but Oziligath still looks fairly firm at the front line, but Stephenn definitely has some advantages here. Well, actually, to attack right now, but Stephenn could give Oziligath a bit of a headache. In particular, say a smoke in the right place could allow his tanks and infantry to just pour through and do some very uncomfortable damage here to Oziligath. But again, it does require that Stephenn does have an idea as to where to land that attack and has the will to do it. I mean, he does have a lot of spotting scopes. It's not like impossible he could, you know, spot this and then set up for it. But he's definitely taking a more hesitant and cautious approach here versus Oziligath. He's not looking to conduct a fresh blitzkrieg here versus the Red Army under Oziligath. He's being pushed back with the comms on the west side here. Panther 4 hanging back in reserve. East side there we can also see their Stephenn slowly probing forwards with some Grenadiers as well, hoping that Oziligath has nothing there. And he doesn't have a lot though. He is bringing in a T-34 from 6 probably to put the halt on those Grenadiers' advance. So, will it be another T-35? Will it be a Katyusha? Or will Oziligath now be trying to go for the IS-2 heavy tank here versus Stephenn? East side here, T-34s, the Grenadiers here starting to blast, hammer away there. West side there, Stephenn slowly making a push here towards the western victory point here. Also threatening, of course, Oziligath's fuel point, but seems like he's already withdrawing forces from the west towards center here. Looking to halt an assault there by Oziligath, or just hoping to break him there, I don't know. North here, the T-35 is now pretty much the only thing remaining by the northern front. Mortar fire here also causing problems there for Oziligath. The lack of own artillery, I think, is starting to become a bit more of an apparent issue for Oziligath. And again, doesn't have to go for Katyusha. In particular, now he's going for the IS-2. But Yeah, now, a mortar of his own might have been a pretty good investment here for Oziligath, in particular early west against Stephenn, I think, is starting to steadily reap the rewards of having a mortar, so thumbs up to Stephenn. T35 there, Veteran T1, 11 kills, 76 with 5 kills in Veteran T1. Don't need to advance on the center victory point. More Pioneers for Stephenn. I mean, with 2 Pantherfalls and an armored car, that's a pretty good idea. Even with vehicle critical repair, I mean, he could also be using that munitions and other stuff than just repairing his tanks, so having more Pioneers is just smart there by Stephenn. Thumbs up. We shall have to see what he follows up with next. Dukes, more Pantherfalls, Osvins, command tanks. Will he be going for Tier 4? I don't know, but there we go. Oziligath kind of throw away that T-34 from 6. I am not entirely sure what happened there. Maybe it was a misclick, maybe it was a brain fart. Maybe it was bad pathing. But the game just, doing something really silly and he just didn't realize it in time. It's hard to say that. Either way, though, the end result is Oziligath is short 1 T-34 from 6. Of course, he is closing on the IS-2, but it certainly would have been more beneficial for Oziligath to have 2 T-34s and an IS-2. So, particularly considering the way he lost that T-34 from 6, so... Certainly less than optimal here for Oziligath. Stephenn is quickly moving in. Theoretically, he could exploit this if Stephenn, of course, spreads out too thin. He could launch an assault with the IS-2 and the T-35, call in the IL-2 to make attacks as well. Then perhaps deliver a more, effective attack than Stephenn that really gives Stephenn a bad case of, the Moscow potato drops. T-35 falling back both and west here. Consequent northern victory point now. And there you go, Oziligath at the 26, almost 27 mark, can call in the IS-2 heavy tank here, and there you go. Calls in the Yosef Stalin 2 heavy tank. The late model, which had frontally sloped armor, whereas the earlier models did not have the sloped armor at the front there. Little fun fact there. Feeling about the 2-2, they almost got it. Better 2 than the field gun. And we do also get air support here, right in the midst of Stephenn's forces. Attack here from the north. Can Oziligath execute well? Strong enough attack here. Oh, straight to mine there. 2 losses. Pax has been caught here by the R2 Sturmviks here. Grenadiers, they're being hammered by the IS-2. Pinelite machine, they're almost done. T-35 tank from the north here, catching the Panther on the flank here, catching the mortar as well here. Half the crew gone. Aircraft, they're knocked out here. Minor blow to Soviet aviation there. Grenadiers versus engineers here. T-35 almost got the Panther 4 here. The assault continuing to go off here, and Stephenn is definitely in a state of consternation. These things are not quite going his way here. If Oziligath had to grab that mortar, that would be very good for him. Machine crew wiped out here. Utter chaos here for Stephenn, and Oziligath is just reaping the rewards of this chaos. IS-2 there, bouncing a shot from the Pack 40 here. T-35, they're flanking up here, could cause further chaos and pain here for Stephenn. Field gun setting up here as well, though he definitely should grab these support weapons here for Oziligath. I think a failure to grab those would definitely be suboptimal here for him, in particular that machine gun. But even, I think actually the mortar more definitely just needs to get his hands on them. Just no questions asked, just get your hands on them, Oziligath. Again, the mortar will be helpful for Stephenn's support weapons, and infantry in the machine will also be helpful in just holding back Stephenn's infantry. So that definitely should be a priority, grabbing both of these weapons, or at least denying them. What he definitely should not do is just ignore them. I definitely think that would be a significant mistake of Oziligath. Meanwhile, we do have the heavy pan squad with Stephenn and the German army. And Oziligath apparently is just pretending they're not there. Picks up the IS-2 as the priority. Might want to get the counters down there since they can't repair. And there you go. He grabs the MD-42, realizing it's there. But yeah, he doesn't get the mortar though. Apparently neither does Stephenn. Or perhaps Stephenn does realize there's a mortar. There we go. Thumbs up to Stephenn. But yeah, definitely I think a missed opportunity by Oziligath. Should have absolutely beeline for that mortar and that machine gun much sooner. But again, at least he got the MD-42. But he could have also grabbed the mortar, which I think would have been a significant boost there for Oziligath. And certainly a bit of a slap across the face to Stephenn. IS-2, that's good to go again. 5 kills, close rating 1. We got the Panther 4 there with Schutzen on. Good shot then for the field gun. IS-2 moving forwards. with its 122mm gun. Made for breaking through lines, bashing bunkers and all that. Not so much for engaging tanks. They had planned that, but they just kind of decided, you know what, or Stalin decided, I really just want to blow apart front lines, bunkers and all that. So they gave it a 122mm gun rather than a 100mm gun. Little fun fact there. Reinforcing healing here. In the south, you got the Council of the Grenadiers here. Shoots and absolutely misses. Panthers moving forwards. Mortar bounces off the eyes too. Running forwards there with it. Could of course advance a bit further here versus Stephenn. So far we'll have to see what happens next. We've got a machine gun bunker coming from the eastern victory point here for Stephenn. Another T-54 for Oziligath, a T-54-6. He's caught up with the Panther on the guns on the west side. Of course, we've got the mortar back in action for Stephenn, deploying smoke already. Thumbs up. And the machine gun here running into the machine gun bunker. We also got Cons flying around here, but it's going to need more support on the right flank to make this work here for Oziligath. And so far, the support is not forthcoming. So, okay, looks like the IS-2 slow moving, but there we go. Pack 40 is going to find way at the IS-2. And it's an ace level Pack 40, so that's actually extra dangerous for the IS-2. Finally, he's been caught, then utterly annihilated repairing the machine gun bunker. I think that was a bit of a whoopsie there for Stephenn. Easy kill for the IS-2. Now the Pack 40 is also a bit of top plot. I think he's just attacking ground there. All the way, though. Panther will take a few hits. He needs to get the R-line fire of the Pack 40, particularly at that range. That's going to possibly mean more penetrating hits. There we go. Air support called in by Oziligath again. IS-2 there, narrowly avoiding getting destroyed. He been at the target weak point there. And there go Ultra Sturmovix there. Almost got the Pack 40 crew there. Really close call here. But obviously for Oziligath, the priority is same than IS-2. No guarantee to hit there. So thumbs up to Oziligath at least on that one. His other tank is also in heavy damage there. He's only got the T-34-6 ready. He could try and rush it in, but I think it'll be a bit difficult to remain. There you go. Another Ultra Sturmovix knocked out of the skies here. In the west side here, Grenadiers advancing there for Stephenn and the German army. IS-2 using repairs, more engineers on the way for Oziligath, very important. He does, of course, have the self-repairs here to speed up, and there you go, he does do so on the IS-2 to, expedite repairs on that one. Thumbs up. Very sharp decision there. The faster you can get this back in the fight, the better for Oziligath. Yeah, veterans one opening up here for the OF-471 fragmentation shell. Also not actualized, IS-2's had a significantly slower rate of fire than what they had in the game because the active fire shells are so massive they had to be loaded in 2 parts. Fun fact on that one. But there you go, we got Stephenn with the Panther, the Panzerkampfwagen 5. Killing westwards, most of the Grenadiers here. IS-2 good to go ahead for Oziligath. Then he's almost been wiped out here though. Panther is almost done it for Stephenn. Rolling forward here with the IS-2. T-Fed rolling heck back up with the IS-2. Bunker there still standing. It could be, I think, pretty quickly knocked out here by Oziligath if he wanted to. They're just going to flank in and try and destroy some of Stephenn's forces here. Right into the Pack 40s. You have to get the IS-2, of course, in front of the East Pack 41. Well placed target weak point. Could lead to a very short lifespan there for Oziligath IS-2 heavy tank. Panthers around here for Stephenn and the 1st Panzer Division. 1st Panzer Regiment. 1st Panzer Battalion. Control top of the Grenadiers. Panther 4 firing away there. Close to Vetty 3. IS-2 of course needs some light repairs. T-35 family good to go. But again, just sending the tank quickly. They clear out the bunker and the east southern victory point would fall, I think, pretty rapidly into the hands of Oziligath. We got 182 versus 267. Definitely a bit tight there for Stephenn in terms of victory points at the moment. T-35 taking out the bunker there. Graham Northern victory point. Panther slow moving forward here for Stephenn and the German army. IS-2 they're almost fixed up here for Oziligath. Note the little handles on the turret there. Here, and also I think on the side of the tank. basically for infantry to hold on to while riding along on the tank. So doctrine was very much disunlucky when it came to that is basically tank riders. Little fun fact. Guns being hammered here by the Panther and the armoured car. IS-2 moving forward, straight into the Pack 40 here. Concentrating 40, shot slamming into the IS-2. Every shot is penetrating. Fairly lucky there for Stephenn, and of course significantly less fortunate there for Oziligath. He's almost got the Pack 40 though. Their IS-2 taking further intensive damage. Surprisingly, we didn't see any additional support for the IS-2 in terms of armor. And again, the lack of artillery support here is also making it harder for Oziligath to attack head-on like this. Again, this is where a mortar would have been quite handy for Oziligath. Stephenn's abandoned his mortar again. For the northwest victory point again. Here we got down 80 versus 264 here. Field guns moving forwards. T-Fed force here. Tank for sides here. Panther firing away that Pack 40 to another angle there. Panther bouncing shots here. Very fortunate there for Stephenn. There we go. That's a lot more you typically sort of imagine Panthers and companies too. Lots of penetrating shots from the field guns. Almost got the Panthers to get stuck in the strategic point. Could risk losing it here. He does get the T-35. We got the Panther flanking up for both sides here. Charging in there. Full blitzkrieg maneuver here from Stephenn and Das Farsland. Sitting up behind the IS-2 here. Panther holding back for repairs. Pack 40s. There's one that could support you, and there you go. Sort of trying here. It's a bit messy, and I think the lack of in support here for Stephenn's Panthers is making this tougher to execute. But I do like the idea here. It does ultimately force Oziligath to withdraw here at the risk of possibly losing the IS-2. Or the field guns. I think that was a fairly astute counterattack here, but Stephenn, even though he didn't ultimately destroy anything, he was successful in forcing Oziligath to withdraw here, so thumbs up to Stephenn on that one. Thumbs up. Pretty risky there, and could have cost him his tanks. Got the Panther being self-repaired. Smart there. He does need more Pioneers as well than just one Pioneer squad. That's going to slow down his repairs, simply since he doesn't have a lot of munitions at the moment either. Almost got the Panther for that east level. Almost got the Council squad. Field gun there, taking into the Panther 4. Almost got. There we go. Panther 4's abandoned in a muddy stream. So what will Stephenn go for next? Will it be another Panther here? Will it be more Pioneers? Will it be Stooks? It'll be Pioneers. Stooks would also be a good addition. Meanwhile, there, Oziligath's down to just the IS-2 in terms of armor. Though his IS-2 is close to veterancy too. That said, he is still a bit outnumbered in terms of tanks. Panther 4 East level versus his IS-2. We got 180 versus 256 here. All Pioneers ready there for Stephenn. Und das Vaterland. And easy as the IS-2 up on northern point here. Decent shot there. In the south, we got the machine holding up here. Watching the abandoned Panther 4 there. What will Stephenn's next move here be? Besides fixing up his Panzerkampfwagen 5. Panther 4 moving ahead. He also did some big critical repairs there. On the eastern front, every repair is critical. Because of the lack of spare parts. In fact, it wasn't uncommon at times for the German tanks just sending the tanks not even fully repaired. Because they just didn't have the spare parts, could have spare the time. Some tanks would send in there in less than ideal condition. Fun fact, Pack 4 landing would hit here with the target weak point on the IS-2. And there's almost fixed up. News being sniped out by the Panzerkampfwagen 4. The losses are definitely looking pretty horrendous for the years. Up north here, contemplating 4th ground northern victory point there, Panther 4 rushing in. Rifle needs off there, Panther 4 misses. Panther heading northwards as well here. Pack 4 again, got hit in the IS-2. Looks like he's going to transfer the grenades to Panther fast. It doesn't have the munitions to Panther fast. In fact, they didn't get it fully reinforced. IS-2 mercilessly for Stephenn. Misses his grenades there a bit. Always could have been a wipe. Up north here, field guns added here. Panther falling back here for Stephenn. Again, he could go for second Panther. He could also go for Sturmpanzer. Again, it's a bit hard to say what Stephenn's game plan is. But for Oziligath, it does look like he lost one of his 8 field gun crews. That is an excellent killer for Stephenn. Even if Oziligath gets recruited, and that's obviously still going to be a problem, the crucial part is it won't be ace level. And as Stephenn, he actually goes for the Panzerwerfer for some rocket artillery. Apparently, he's decided he doesn't like the mortar anymore. That's a bit of a shame. We got 169 versus 244. Army unit repairs, infantry unit reinforcements. Oziligath probably still need artillery, but it's another story. Panther moving forwards here, closing in veterans 1 here. Going around the abandoned hulk of the Panther 4 here. T-34-76 of Oziligath and the Red Army straight into the field gun here, slicing right through the Panther's frontal armor. Second shot does the same. Pack 40's hanging back here. Panther 4 finally wrecked there fully. And the Oziligath wants to back his eyes too for some much needed repairs. We got the Panzerweapon out for Stephenn. The Panther is once more in some repair need there. T-34-76 almost done there for Oziligath. The eyes too. Okay, in the center. He's definitely need to securing those victory points soon here. But Oziligath is clearly not looking to make this an easy endeavor there for Stephenn. Enters the conscript, going to repeat him as well there. And a full wipe then Oziligath. Panzer barrage off here for Stephenn against Oziligath. Northern strike here, slamming into the nears. The field crew's wiping out the other crew again there. Definitely help preventing it from getting to Veteran 3 ever again. Needs all took lost quickly crewing it with conscripts. Grenadiers ripping into that as well. Up north here, we've got funding here for the northern victory point here. Southern victory point, they're still being defended here pretty fiercely by Oziligath. Rushing in a T-34, Grenadiers flanking in here as well. Armor could support as well, but there we go. It looks like the Pan's being rushed in now. North here, Panther 14 with the conscripts here, trying to assist the Grenadiers on the goal for northern point. Oziligath seemingly falling about across the entire front line, I think in part due to his IS-2, now Veteran 2 by the way, is heavily damaged. And Oziligath is clearly concerned he loses that, he could be in a lot of trouble. Meanwhile, Panther engaging T-34-76, Veterans 1, 7 kills. Need to get his hands on that southern victory point. Northern one falling into the hands of the German army as well. Center could also fall into the hands of the Reich. Panzerkampfwagen advancing. And another machine gun here for Stephenn. All 3 victory points are about to fall into the hands of Deutschland. As 2 meanwhile being fixed up here for Oziligath. T-34 signaling force as well here. Pan towards the Maxim. Good shot from the field gun there, straight for the Panther Force frontal armor. Things been bad here with the IS-2. Heavy tank there, 21 kills. Definitely bad news for the Grenadiers. Pack shoots, bounces off the IS-2's frontal armor. Fresh machine gun ready there for Stephenn. We got 81 versus 229. Stephenn's back in a fairly good position. Can Oziligath break Stephenn once more? Can he cause enough disorder to front all of Stephenn's front line back here? Or will it be a failure this time around? Or will Stephenn actually launch another assault here, possibly breaking Oziligath entirely? Hunters, we've got contrary to the Grenadiers here. Panther firing away there. 7 kills, Veterans 1. Pack 40's hanging back here. Picks up the IS-2 there. Now that Panzer barrage here though from Stephenn. Right at the field and crew and wiping it again. Panther there, meanwhile engaged with the T-34-6 Pack 4 with running excellent covering fire here, and that T-34-6 is likely going to get exploded here. Yup, down it goes, and the nation's cooked off. IS-2 rolling ahead here. Charging forwards for the Red Army, right into the Pack 40s, and the Panther target weak point right now could be, yup, devastating here for Oziligath. There you go, almost got it, almost got it. There we go, IS-2 is pretty much toast on front of a Panther, and of course 2 packs, including an ace level 1 there. Shot bounced, Panther 4 knocked out. But the IS-2 is done with that. Oziligath has no armor left here versus Stephenn. He can call in more. Stephenn quickly blitzing out the Panther 4 units lost here, but it's looking pretty bad here for Oziligath. Pretty bad. There's also still the Panzerwerfer, because Stephenn in some regards still has the artillery edge. You could of course also still crew the mortar, and with this, it's quite clear Oziligath just concedes, so there you go, GG, game over. A victory for the fatherland, a loss for the Red Army, a pretty fierce and intense back and forth battle here. And then I do think, for at least part of the match, the key element here was actually the mortar for Stephenn. But I also think Oziligath's lack of artillery, just mortar himself again, I think was crucial, or just his failure to grab the mortar. I think had he done that, I think Oziligath would have been in a much better position. That's all key points throughout this match. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. I learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment. Consider donating and support the Propagandacast, and it's worth it via the link in the description using PayPal, or you can pre-order Communist Fee. Links in the comments. Use the code Coh2 as it is written there, and I get a nice little commission on the sale. So consider that. But big thank you all for watching, and see you all tomorrow for another episode. Bye.